G'day everybody, this is Peter Heading here from NRM North. I'm the Agricultural Officer for NRM North. This is part of the Regional Land Partnerships program that the Australian Government is running. And what we have here today, as part of this program, we have set up a number of diverse pasture trials, looking at carbon in the soils and also diversity of pastures and productivity. We have one site there at Scottsdale, we have one site here at Rosevale just out of Launceston, and another site up at Hagley, and another one up at Fingal Valley. So today we have the farmer who's from here, Tim Reed, who owns the property here, Wenlock at Rosevale, and he's going to give a bit of an introduction of how we got this paddock prepared. We're looking at a fairly standard pasture over there, and a more diverse pasture over this side, which runs down along this way. So Tim, do you want to just give us a bit of an introduction to how you set this up?
This paddock, we're looking at about 3 hectares either side in this trial. From our knowledge and what we found out, this paddock hasn't been touched in at least 15 years, apart from being cut for hay every year. It was disced, sprayed off, then disced, and we've applied lime and at the time of sowing fertiliser in. It's a 12 variety mix in the diverse pasture of different grasses and legumes in there, and then on the standard side is 2 ryegrasses and a clover.
And these are perennial ryegrasses.
Perennial ryegrasses,
yeah.
Yep. And while we're doing it, we actually ran a pipeline through the centre, so we now have water in the middle of all the paddocks for strip grazing as well.
Yep. So on the standard side over there, the mix was sown with Marsden long rotation rye, Wintaz 2 perennial rye, both at 28 kilos. Ruby Taz red clover at 14 kilos, so 28 kilos per hectare. Tim says here he sowed it a little heavy due to broadcast sowing, so he actually broadcast here and rolled it, harrowed and rolled it. On this side, the diverse side, we have Wintaz perennial rye at 22 kilos, Victoka perennial rye 7.5, XL Taz coloured brome, which we just saw a little bit of it down here, 15 kilos, Uplands Hispanic Cocksfoot at 4 kilos, Valeris Australian 3.5, Huey White Clover 3.5, Ruby Taz Red Clover 4, Tricala Sub 4, Arrow Taz Arrow Leaf Clover 3.5, Loser Persian Clover 3.5, Chicory 3.5, and so on at 29 kilos a hectare.
Quite often you see these high sowing rates, and these are particularly high. I know Tim was allowing for broadcasting, but under ideal conditions you probably do up the rate a little bit when you're broadcasting. But I actually like the idea of broadcasting, harrowing and rolling. It gives each plant its own little bit of space. So you're not putting them in those drill runs, which you'll quite often see with higher sowing rates. The grass will dominate the clovers.
Sometimes the ryegrass stays in that.
Yeah, and it doesn't move out. It doesn't tiller out. But looking at the diverse mix here, I would say that the perennial ryegrass and the coloured brome have probably outcompeted some of the clovers and some of the slower establishing grasses such as the Cocksfoot and Valeris.
This is only an intermediate stage of this pasture. We're going to be still measuring this for the next 3 years, so it's only been in just over a year. Well, I've got some figures here that I'll mention. On the diverse side over here, we've measured 9 grazings over the year. So Tim's rang me up and I've come out and measured, and we've measured that on this side it was 23,500 kilograms of dry matter produced on this side for over the 9 grazings, and on the other side was 21,300. What was eaten on this side was 11,790, close to 12,000 kilos of dry matter eaten on the diverse side, and 10,400 on that side. So the difference is 1,400 kilos difference between the two. So an extra 1,400 kilos over those 9 grazings on this side.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to follow the production of these 2 treatments, because I'm estimating that the perennial ryegrass red clover, we're probably looking at 25-30% red clover. On this side we might be looking at 5%, and for every tonne of dry matter a legume produces, it's actually putting 25 kilos of nitrogen back into your soil. So if Tim doesn't add nitrogen onto this grass dominated mix, it will run out and you'll start losing plants. So that's another thing he's going to have to keep an eye on. Whereas this side, I would imagine that the clover content would be high enough to maintain the nitrogen, enough nitrogen for the grasses to even get stronger than they are now.
As an observation, especially over summer, found that diverse pasture stayed a lot greener for longer, and a lot of the time this was all strip grazed throughout the last 12 months. The cattle would always go straight to the diverse pasture before the standard pasture when they were let in, just about every single time. So, just an observation.
It's actually interesting that you've included the coloured brome in this blend, because it's a new grass, and I think at the moment it's been underutilised, but it is a grass that's highly palatable and a grass that will grow well in the summer autumn. So if you do get those summer rains, it will respond.
We're going to bring out a fact sheet on the update on this trial and the other trials. We're just going to have an update. That fact sheet will come out in a couple of weeks' time.